Hello dear student, this is Palash Chakraborty, assistant teacher, for high school and college. Welcome to my class. This is for class 7, subject English second paper, topic transformation of sentences. So in our previous lecture, we have completed transformation like affirmative to negative, then positive, comparative and superlative, that is degree of transformation. Now it's time to know about the transformation of sentence, that is assertive to interrogative and vice versa. So let's go for the rule. Okay, so firstly you have to know the transformation of sentences that consist in changing a sentence from one form to another without changing any change of meaning. So if you want to change assertive sentence into interrogative sentence, then you have to use the auxiliary verb before the subject of the interrogative sentence without changing the meaning. You have to remember, if there is no auxiliary verb in the sentence, then you have to use do, does and did before the subject according to tense. So you know, for present tense you can use do or does, and for past tense you have to use did. So let's go. Assertive sentence into interrogative sentence. So rule number 1. So if you find any assertive sentence with auxiliary verb, then you have to do the following to make it negative. So if the sentence is affirmative, then so you have to implement these rules only for if the sentence is affirmative. So firstly write the to be verb, that is the auxiliary verb, then plus an apostrophe t, that is the short form of not. So firstly you have to use the auxiliary verb plus not plus subject plus rest of the sentence plus interrogative sign. So the most important part of this rule is the interrogative sign. So if you forget to put the sign, the sentence will be wrong. So remember it very carefully. So let's go for some examples of that rules. So he is absent from the school. So from the structure, from the rule, you know, you have to use the auxiliary verb before the subject, because this is an affirmative sentence. So you have to use the auxiliary verb before the subject, that is. So because of the affirmative sentence, you have to use not, the short form of not, n apostrophe t. So he isn't, then the subject he, isn't he absent from the school? So here the answer, isn't he absent from the school? So here you just implement the rule, that is the auxiliary verb is put before the subject, that is all. Number 2, I was sincere to my duties. Similarly here was is the auxiliary verb and the sentence is affirmative, so you have to write wasn't I sincere to my duties. Next rule, we can do the work. Here can is the auxiliary verb, so sentence is affirmative, so you have to write can't. It is can't we do the work, that is all. Okay, rule 2. So and the similar space, if you find an assertive sentence with auxiliary verb, then you have to do the following to make it interrogative. So in our previous rules we have shown that if the sentence is affirmative one. Now it is time, if the sentence is negative, then what? Then firstly just write the to be verb, that is auxiliary verb, plus omit the negative word. So you have to omit the negative word not or never, anything. So plus subject plus rest of the sentence plus interrogative sign. So this is so easy. So let's have the examples to make you more clear. So example, he is not a good student. So here the sentence is -1, so you have to use just the auxiliary verb before the subject and omit the negative word. So, is he a good student? Here is the answer. Is he a good student? He was not irresponsible. So, negative sentence. So, you have to use the auxiliary verb with the subject was and omit the word not. So, was he responsible? Was he responsible? Okay, so I shall not go to school tomorrow. So, just use shall before the subject and omit not. So, shall I go to school tomorrow? Fine. So, in a positive sentence, that will be in an affirmative sentence, you have to do the negative interrogative. In a negative sentence, you have to do the affirmative interrogative. That is all. Okay, so now rule number 3. So if you find any assertive sentence without auxiliary verb, in our previous 2 rules, I have discussed about the sentence that is auxiliary verb, with the auxiliary verb. Now it is time to discuss about without auxiliary verb. Then you have to do the following to make it interrogative. So firstly, if the sentence is present indefinite tense, then firstly write don't or doesn't. It depends on tense plus subject plus base form of verb, that is main verb, plus rest of the sentence plus interrogative sign. So in case of I, we, you, they or any plural subject, you should use do. And in case of he, she, it or any third person singular number, then you should use does. You have to remember these 2 points very carefully. Okay, this is a note. Example. So he plays football. So from this very structure, that is, we know you have to use don't or doesn't. Why? Because this sentence is affirmative. So in an affirmative sentence, you have to use the negative interrogative. So that is why we have to use don't or doesn't. So now it's time. Why this is doesn't or don't? Here in the subject we find he. So if the subject is third person singular number, then we should use does. So doesn't he play football? Here the answer, doesn't he play football? So the main base form of plays is play. You have to remember. They eat rice. So here the subject they, that is third person but not singular number. So you have to use do. So don't they eat rice. Next one. Rohim goes to school every day. So here subject third person singular number, so you have to use doesn't. So doesn't Rohim go to school every day? That is all. So if you find any assertive sentence without auxiliary verb, then you have to do the following to make it negative, make it interrogative. So previous speech here also, but if the sentence is past indefinite tense, then so in our previous rule we know about if the sentence is present indefinite tense. Now it is time to know about if the sentence is past indefinite tense. Then what? Then just write didn't. So you know that from the very rules that you have to use don't, doesn't or didn't. So don't and doesn't you have to use on the present indefinite tense, and didn't you have to use on the past indefinite tense, plus subject plus base form of the verb plus rest of the sentence plus interrogative sign. The similar rule. Okay, let's go for some examples. Karim liked the book. Here the subject is past indefinite tense and the affirmative sentence. So you have to write didn't. Didn't Karim like the book? So the base form of liked is like. So you have to write the base form of the verb if you use don't, doesn't or didn't in any sentence. So here, didn't Karim like the book? Number 2. So he went to Patna yesterday. So went. So here we have found a past indefinite tense. So you have to use didn't. So didn't he go to Patna yesterday? So go is the base form of went. Okay. Note, here you have find a note. If you find do not, doesn't, or did not in any assertive sentence, that is negative sentence exactly, then you have to omit the word not and write just do, does and did before the subject, plus base form of the verb, plus rest of the sentence, plus interrogative sign. Exactly the similar way. I have mentioned it before, that if you find the sentence is affirmative, then you have to do the negative interrogative, and if you find the sentence is negative, then you have to do the affirmative interrogative, as similar as before. He does not work hard, so you have to use just does before the subject. So does he work hard? Does he work hard? Okay. Number 2. So they did not play football yesterday. So here you just have to use did before the subject. So did they play football yesterday? Did they play football yesterday? Okay. Next rule. Okay. If you find any assertive sentence with the word never, then you have to write ever instead of never. Or if you find nothing, then you have to write anything to make it interrogative. So just remember the rule. Never, ever, nothing, anything. Okay, so I never drink tea. So from the very structure, we know that this sentence, we didn't have any, we don't have any auxiliary verb in this sentence. So you have to find an auxiliary verb then, do, does or did. So here subject I, that is we have to use don't. So here the sentence is negative one, so you have to use do just. So do I ever drink tea? So you find never, you have write ever. Next rule, next example, there was nothing to do. So put the auxiliary verb before the subject, was there nothing, you find nothing, so you have to write anything. So was there anything to do? Okay. He gave nothing to the poor. Okay, he gave nothing to the poor. Here we don't have any we don't have any auxiliary verb, so you have to use don't, doesn't or didn't. So this sentence is past indefinite sentence. So you have to use didn't. Did. So did he give anything to the poor? Did he give anything to the poor? So you have to write the base form of the verb also. So this is the rule exactly. So here nothing is used in a sentence as objective. So as object. So if you find nothing as a subject, just try to remember, if you find nothing as subject, you have to write what instead of nothing. What instead of nothing. So nothing can make him happy. So you have to write what can make him happy. Okay. Okay, you have to also write can anything make him happy. This is also right. So try to remember all these rules. So this is all about the lecture today. Just keep practicing the rule. Okay, I will take the feedback later on. Just keep practicing. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for practicing this grammar item. Stay safe and be blessed. Thank you.